Hey guys, this is Blake. I wanted to do a quick review on the latest headphones from Turtle Beach, the Stealth 700s. These came out yesterday on the 24th. That was their official release. I picked them up myself because I wanted an upgrade, and I honestly can say that after spending about 6 or 7 hours on these, I have a lot of things that I'd like to share. It'll help you guys in either making your decision for the first time on a gaming headset, or if you've already got one and you want to upgrade and you're unsure, hopefully my review on pros and cons of these will help you make your decision. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so when you buy the Stealth 700s, they come in this packaging right here. It's a nice box. Once you open it up, not a whole lot going on inside other than the headset themselves. You get a Turtle Beach sticker, and then you also get the fiber optic cable and USB dongle, which will be plugged into your PS4. The way these work is they actually tap into the fiber optic output on your PS4 and transmit the 8 channels of audio right into that dongle and then right to the headset via Bluetooth. So it's a neat trick that they do, a little bit of a hacky workaround, but it works. And then Turtle Beach has a proprietary codec that they use to transmit the best simulated surround they can to what's actually just two 55mm drivers in the headset themselves. I can honestly say as an audio engineer, this impressed me. These headsets sound very, very good. I've always been an advocate for surround sound. I have a surround sound setup, but these come very, very close to true surround. And not to mention, you hear a lot more detail and accuracy because of how much is being sent directly to your ears. With the surround sound setup, there's a lot of obstructions, and if you're in a party chat with an earbud, you're kind of muffling out one side. It's a little bit better to have a gaming headset. If you take gaming seriously and you appreciate audio, I definitely recommend a good gaming headset. So let's get right into it. I'm going to start with some pros, and then I'll touch on some of the cons where I feel like they could have done a better job. So pro number one is just the sheer audio quality. This headset, as I mentioned, sounds fantastic. It has 7.1 simulated surround, and the low end in particular is very impressive. Just from 55mm, these guys really sound like mini subwoofers in there. It's not too much. It's a very natural sound. You can change the EQ on these. The level of detail is extremely impressive. If you play games where you need audio cues such as Rainbow Six Siege or Overwatch, you'll be very impressed with the localization and the spatialization of the game itself and the things in your surroundings. So very, very impressive as far as the audio quality and the simulated surround. Pro number two is the battery life. I can say that Turtle Beach has always kind of done a good job at that. With these, you're looking at anywhere from 10 to 15 hours, depending on how loud you listen to them, depending on whether you keep Bluetooth activated on these. It's pretty nice. I mean, you can go a few days, depending on how often you play, without charging them up. So, in comparison to my Sony Golds, it's a lot more as far as the battery life. The third pro I'd like to talk about is the comfort. I think they increased the comfort pretty significantly from the 520s. I had the 520s as well, and I can say that the improvement they made with the ear cushions, they actually made the middle of the cushion softer for the glasses. People who wear glasses, it's a bit softer there, so less pressure on the ears, and I really enjoy the comfort of these. I think they did a great job on that. They also made the top cushion, which feels to be memory foam, on the top of your head. That is much better than the predecessor. So they have worked on the comfort. That's another pro. The fourth pro I'd like to talk about, which is a pretty big one, is the companion app. So you can download the companion app on your phone and control many things in regards to the headset. You can turn on Bluetooth, you can turn on active noise canceling, you can lower or raise the voice prompts, the tones that the headphones make. There's certain tones that they make, say when you're muting the mic, to let you know. You can turn those tones all the way down. Really, really cool. A lot of functionality with the app, but it's very simple to use, easy to connect. While I'm talking about the app, I noticed it had really low reviews, 1 point something stars, and a lot of those negative reviews are around connectivity issues, and I can solve that problem for you if you'd like. Basically, when you connect your phone to the headset and you're scanning for Bluetooth devices, there'll be two that pop up. One of them has LE in it. You don't want to choose the LE one. Anybody who's trying to connect to the LE one is going to have connectivity issues with the companion app. You'll want to choose the other Stealth 700 device. If you connect to that, you'll have no issues with the app at all. I had no issues. It's very simple to use. So The next pro I'd like to talk about while we're touching on Bluetooth is the dual Bluetooth functionality. This is really big for Turtle Beach. The new headset 700s actually have dual Bluetooth, which means one signal is being transmitted from the PS4 to the headset, obviously for them to be wireless, and then the second signal is to your phone. So you can actually pair these to your phone and listen to music through them. And at first I was like, why would I want to listen to music through them? But the better part is taking phone calls, receiving notifications while you're playing. So you can be playing the game and you'll hear the notifications come through, never have to take the headset off. If a phone call comes through, you can answer the call while you're gaming. Very, very cool. Also, I was playing last night and I was on Facebook in between games and a video popped up and I played the video and I was about to take the headset off and then the audio came right through. So it was a nice surprise, and I'm getting used to it and it's really cool. So the dual Bluetooth functionality is a big plus. The last pro I want to talk about is the mic itself. So this is a huge design improvement from the last Turtle Beach and even their predecessors. This is the first time they've actually incorporated this type of design where it's a shorter mic and it just swings down like that. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's very convenient and tucked away, unobtrusive. And you're never going to have to worry about pushing and pulling the flexible mic on some of the others like the 520s. The flexible mic and that little pop filter kind of gets in your way. And this one is pretty much out of the way and you don't even notice it's there. While we're touching on the mic, I want to mention to mute and unmute, you just simply lift up to mute it and pull it down to unmute it. And you're going to hear a little chime in your ear. Very, very cool. And it's also nice for your significant other. They can look over and they can see whether it's muted or not. So it lets them know, hey, I can say certain things. It's kind of nice. So muting and unmuting is just that simple. Very easy to use. And I was very impressed with the increase in quality from the mic that I had on the 520s and these 700s. It was actually a big reason why I decided to upgrade. So I'd like to touch briefly on the Superhuman hearing mode. To activate this, it's the button all the way to the left, and basically what this does is it boosts the frequencies around footsteps for those serious pro gamers that want to hear all the footsteps. Basically, it creates a high-pass filter, rolls off a lot of the low end, you're going to lose a lot of bass, but then you're going to hear those frequencies around footsteps heightened. Your sensitivity in that area is going to go up. In my personal opinion, I prefer to leave this off. The mode sounds a little bit unnatural, and I prefer the more realistic soundscape. So I keep it off. For some of you, you might appreciate this. So I've talked a lot about the good things here, and I want to kind of touch on some of the areas I think they could have done better. So I'm going to get into the cons. So the first con I want to talk about is there was no aux cable included. Kind of weird because the 520s included an aux cable. Most of the headphones you buy for gaming include an aux cable. The aux cable is used if the headset dies. You can plug the aux cable into this 3.5 millimeter output and right into your PS4 controller. And what that'll let you do is use them in passive mode, so the power doesn't have to be on, and you lose some functionality, but they work. There was no aux cable included, and when I used my own aux cable, they didn't work. So a little weird that the aux cable is not working. The headset does not work in passive mode. From my experience, I had a buddy of mine that bought them yesterday as well. He tested his aux cable. He confirmed they do not work in passive mode. So I plan on reaching out to Turtle Beach in that regard, because that is kind of a malfunction that customers want to expect that to work. So the second con I want to talk about is you cannot charge and use them simultaneously if you're not connected directly to the PS4. With the 520s that I also own, I was able to plug them into a cell phone charger that was closer to my couch. It was much more convenient. If they died, I could just plug them right in. I attempted that last night, and these powered off on their own numerous times when trying to use a cell phone charger. So I don't know if they've got a new mechanic that lets it know, hey, this isn't the PS4 to power it off. I'm not sure. Maybe it's to protect the battery, but you have to have them plugged into the PS4 directly if you want to use them while they're dead or charging. Unfortunately, I don't have a 15-foot cable, so I'll probably be investing in that. If you have a shorter cable, it's going to be inconvenient because you have to get closer to the PlayStation. So it's a little bit unfortunate on that regard. So the third con I want to talk about, which is one of the bigger ones in my personal opinion, is No master volume control on these, and it's kind of a legacy issue with Turtle Beach. You do have two separate volume controls, which are scroll wheels, one for party chat, one for game audio. That is nice to have, but they should have had a master volume control, because what I noticed is you spend some time working on the mix, getting the balance right between the party chat and game audio, and then if you want to lower or raise the overall volume, you simply cannot. You have to touch both of those volume controls here on the back left of the headset, and it becomes a little bit of a nuisance. I wish there would have been a master volume control. For example, the Sony Golds, they have that master volume along with the party chat and game chat mix, so that would have been nice to have. So the next con I want to talk about is you have to unmute and mute your TV or surround sound if you plan on not using the headset or using the headset, bouncing back and forth. For example, if you're watching PlayStation View or Netflix on your PlayStation and you don't want to use the headset, you want to hear it through your TV, you'll have to unmute your TV or your surround sound. And then when it comes time you're ready to play a video game and you want to hear the headset, you have to mute the TV or surround sound every single time you want to go back and forth. Because of the way they configure the headset and the PlayStation settings, it's sending signal to both the headset and your TV at all times. So if you want to, bounce back and forth like I do pretty much on a daily basis, you're going to be grabbing that remote a lot to mute and unmute. So the next con I want to mention is that there's no indication on the PS4 whether the mic is muted. And I know this is minor, but I was used to it on the Sony Golds. For example, in Rainbow Six, it would show you the mic icon would appear if the mic was on. If the mic was muted, the mic icon would disappear in the scoreboard. So that was really nice and convenient. If you forgot whether you had it muted or unmuted, you just pull up the scoreboard and you could see. Also, in the PlayStation dashboard, pressing the PlayStation button, you'd see a little icon with a mic and a line through it if it was muted. You will not get that functionality out of the Turtle Beach headsets. So with that being said, it is kind of easy to see if the mic is muted or unmuted with this actual device here where it slides up and down. That's pretty obvious, but it would have been nice to have that on the PlayStation itself. Now, with that being said, it leads into my last con, which is the notification of the battery life. You're not going to know what the battery life is on the PS4. You'll notice on Sony headsets, it will show you in the dashboard what the battery life is when you press the PlayStation button. You will not get that functionality out of the Turtle Beach. I don't know if it's an integration problem. Maybe it has to be Sony headsets only, but the only way to tell the battery life is through the companion app. Now that is nice because in the older headsets, there was no way of telling. You had to just wait for the voice prompt that said battery low. Now you can tell on the companion app, but it still would have been nice to have another way of telling through the PlayStation, and there isn't. That pretty much wraps up my pros and cons on the Turtle Beach Stealth 700s. I would like to say overall I'm very impressed. The sheer audio quality, it allows me to kind of ignore some of the complaints that I have, and I'm going to keep this headset. I'm very impressed, and I think you guys will be too. If you're unsure whether you should try it, buy it, or pass on it, I recommend you buy these. They retail for $149.99. If you're an avid gamer and you appreciate audio like I do, audio is a huge part of gaming. I recommend you buy a good gaming headset such as the Stealth 700s. I've heard some things about the competitors. I've tried a lot of the competitors, and so far, these are the most impressive I have tried to date. They're not going to break the bank at $149.99, and they are available today. So I appreciate you guys taking a watch to my review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I will be happy to answer them for you. I've put about 8 hours into these headsets, and I'm excited to put a lot more. I wanted to bring the Stealth 520s into the video because I made a lot of references to them, and I also own these. Now, they look very similar, but the first thing you're going to notice is the mic right offhand has this flexible mic, and you can see the wind filter, the pop filter here, that can kind of get in the way when you're trying to eat or drink. That part is kind of an annoyance. Now, one thing to note is with the 520s, it is nice when you power them on. You will notice that there's LEDs that turn on. It might be hard to see there in the light, but there's LEDs on both sides with the Turtle Beach logo. Makes it very obvious to see whether they're on or off. And unfortunately on the 700s, they ditched that design. So there is not an obvious blue LED. Maybe they did that to preserve battery life, I'm not sure. But all you're gonna get is a very small pinhole size light here which is also an LED that will indicate green or red based on whether they're on or charging. So it's a little bit harder to notice and not as obvious to tell whether these are on or off. So that is the big differences between the two. Of course, only the 700s are going to have the dual Bluetooth audio connectivity and the active noise canceling. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention about the active noise canceling, it's not going to be at Bose's level of quality as far as noise canceling, but it is very apparent and it does a good job getting rid of a lot of the room tone. But one thing to note with the active noise canceling, when you do have it enabled, you will lose the self-monitoring feature. So with the headset, there's a self-monitoring feature where you can hear your own voice. When you talk through the mic, it'll feed it back into your earphones so that you don't end up yelling. That's really nice, and I like that self-monitoring, which also the level of that can be changed in the companion app. That will actually be disabled when you turn on the active noise canceling. It makes sense because to cancel the noise, they really need to eliminate all the mics and the external noise. I personally left the active noise canceling off because I like the self-monitoring. One thing I wish they would have done was let me monitor myself a bit louder. I have the slider all the way up in the companion app, and when you add in the game audio, even if it's not fully maxed, you end up barely hearing yourself. So I wish the self-monitoring was a little bit louder. If I had to let Turtle Beach know on an improvement, I would ask for that louder self-monitoring mix. And also, it'd be nice to have a blue LED back like the 520s had. I really like the blue LEDs. Not only did it look cool, but it was obvious whether the headset was on or off. So that would be a nice feature for them to bring back on the next generation. Okay guys, in conclusion, with all things considered, I'd like to give the Stealth 700s a final score of 8 out of 10. I think that they did a good job for the most part, and certain things could be improved, but all in all, very impressive headset, and that's my final score. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.